So this is the knit version of the Sweet November shawl, and this was what I was trying to replicate in my Tunisian version, and that's what I'll be showing you today how to make. So this is the knit version, and then this is the version in Tunisian crochet. So we have somewhat of a similar look with the grid and the space in between. Somewhat similar look in Tunisian crochet. So this is the rainbow version in the colorway Sprinkles, Ferris wheel Sprinkles, and I started off by working this from the bottom edge up, and you can see I was working it just straight in the one color, and then I went and started working it in two color. So I used two skeins of the same yarn, and I would work one color down, and then I would work the next color back, and then I would take that color and work it down, and then I always switched over on the return pass side to get this effect, and I'll cover that in another video, how to work with two colors. So anyways, this is the two color version. So here's the brown version, and I just want to show you, it does some really cool things because of the mesh as it twists and turns. It's pretty cool. Okay, so this is the wider version of the Sweet November shawl made in Tunisian crochet, and it grows faster at each of the edges. So it goes faster along the top. This part becomes longer than these sides, and this one is being made in Lion Brand Ferris wheel in the colorway Sprinkles. And today I'm going to show you how to make it in another version of Ferris wheel, and this one is called Vintage Carousel. So you can see it's really pretty colors. All right, so let's get started. Okay, for this wide triangle version of the Sweet November shawl in Tunisian crochet, I'm using an 8mm Denise hook, and I'll have a link to that for you. These are modular hooks, and they're great. So we're going to start with a slip knot. And we're going to chain 2. On this side you can see we have our V's of our chains, and on the back we have our back bumps. We're going to go into the first chain's back bump, and we're going to pull up a loop. Then we're going to go into another thread of that same chain and pull up a second loop. So now we have 3 loops, and we're going to make this one into a Tunisian extended stitch by chaining 1. Now, instead of a normal return pass, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to, that's our edge stitch, then we're going to chain 2, or chain 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2, and then we're going to chain 1 and yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to do that in every row. So that's our first row completed. Okay, so for the second row, we're going to chain 1 at the edge stitch, and then to make our increase, we're going to go into the first vertical bar, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Then we're going to go into this vertical chain here. We're going to go underneath the 2 upper threads of that chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then we're going to go under the next vertical bar, yarn over and pull up a loop, Tunisian simple stitch. And then we're going to do the same thing with our edge stitch. And when we do these two, we're going to pull the first stitch through, pull the second stitch through the first stitch. And we're going to do that again. We're going to go, so this is our edge stitch here, this one. And here are our 2 chains. We're going to go into the second one here, into these 2 outer bars, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then into this outer edge stitch, underneath the 2 outer threads. We're going to go underneath those, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we're going to make that into a Tunisian extended stitch, and then we're going to pull that stitch through the first. And then we're going to make our edge stitch, our increase, by going back into that edge stitch a second time, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we're going to make it into an extended simple stitch by adding a chain. So our return pass is the same in every row. We're going to yarn over and pull through 1, that creates our edge stitch. Then we're going to chain 1 and yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. And if you're paying attention, what you may have realized is not only are we increasing by 1 stitch on each end, by having the chain 1 here and also an extra chain 1 here, we are actually increasing each side by 2 stitches in every row. Okay, so let's just do one more row. It's going to be the exact same as the last row, but let's just do one more row together. So, actually I already did that there. We're going to start by chaining 1. That's what helps our edge grow. We're going to go into the first vertical bar and do a simple stitch. Then we're going to go into that second chain into the 2 upper bars, these 2 threads. Go underneath those, yarn over, and pull up a loop. It's sort of like a modified simple stitch. We're going to go under the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's a simple stitch. Then we're going to pull this second stitch through the first stitch. This is what creates the mesh in this pattern. We're going to go into the second chain. This is 1, 2. We're going to go underneath the 2 upper bars, yarn over, pull up a loop. And we're going to go under the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, and just like we did here, we're going to pass this second chain underneath the second loop underneath that first loop. That gives us this space. So again, 1, 2, we're going to go into that second chain underneath the 2 top vertical bars, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's sort of a modified simple stitch. Then we're going to do a simple stitch in the next vertical bar, and we're going to pull the second loop underneath the first. So here we are at our edge stitch again, and this one here is the sort of the outer, is the beginning of your, remember we did a chain one, we made this into a Tunisian extended simple stitch. So that's the bottom part of it. This is the top part of it. So this one here is our outer edge stitch. And here's our 1 chain, 2 chain. So we're going to go under the upper 2 bars of that second chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's our modified simple stitch. Now we're going to go into the 2 outer bars of our edge stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we're going to make that into an extended stitch by chaining 1, and then we're going to do just like we do all along. We're going to pull that loop, that second loop, through that first loop. And then to create our edge stitch, we're going to go back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we want to make it into an extended simple stitch, so we chain 1. So our reverse pass is yarn over, pull through 1, and then we do chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, 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 all the way back. And then when we straighten it out, when it's new, it's a little floppy, but you can see how it's growing wider at the top than the sides. Okay, so what I want to point out to you before I show you how to do the bind off is that with each row we increase by 2 stitches. So the first row we had 3, 1, 2, 3. The next row we had 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is, I'm counting just the vertical bars. And then this last row we had 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So for the bind off, what you're going to do is we're just going to mimic a little bit what we did with each of our rows. So we have our first loop on the hook. We're going to go into the, we're not going to increase. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the first chain. We're going to go under those 2 upper bars, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we're just going to slip stitch it. Then we're going to go into the next vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull it through to make a slip stitch. We're just going to do that all the way across. So we're going to go into the chain before the vertical bar, underneath those 2 upper bars, yarn over, pull up a loop, and slip stitch it. And we're just going to do that all the way across. And on our last one, we're going to go into, remember, this is our outer edge stitch. And these are our 2 chains. We're going to go into the second one just like we do all the way across. Under those 2 upper bars, yarn over, pull through a loop, slip stitch it, and then we're also going to slip stitch into the outer edge stitch, into those two outer threads. Go underneath those, yarn over, pull up a loop, slip stitch it, and then you'll just pull through one last time. You'll cut the yarn, and then your shawl will be complete. And at that stage you'll the nice thing with Tunisian crochet is you already have nice edges with Tunisian crochet, so you don't have to do anything else. But if you would like, you can add a crochet edging, or you could add fringe, as I did with the brown version of mine. And that's it. So let me just show you one more thing. So just keep working this piece. It'll start to look like this piece. And just work it until you have the length that you desire. And then you can just add some fringe, or you could add an edging. But there you have it. It's very, very simple design, very simple pattern. And this pattern looks good and interesting on both sides. So it's actually, I think it's a reversible shawl. So I'll have some pictures of this one when it's finished at the end of this video. I hope you liked this and found it valuable. If you did, please like this video. That's one way to support me. And of course, subscribe, as I will be having many more videos coming up in the future. And share it with your friends. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.